Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Energetic Life Now, friends and family from around the world. So happy to have you guys here. It's great to see you. This is coming to you live on the Spanish World networks and her networks on Zingo TV channels 250 and 251. Now, as always, want to remind you that you can download the Zingo TV app on your iOS to Android devices. Of course, the app is free, and when you do it, give us a like, give us a comment. We'd love to see those. That would be much appreciated. The Zingo TV app is also available on the Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, and the Fire Sticks, Roku, the Roku Sticks on all smart TVs 2016 and forward. Hey, friends and family, it has been a minute, and so glad to see you guys. We took a few weeks off and sending condolences to our producer and his family. They had a death in their family, and so we've been off for a little while during all that. But we're sending all of our love and our prayers and our best wishes to our producer and his family. Friends and family, guess what? I am so stoked to be here today because why? Well, look who's right here. The amazing Cindy Gould. Great to have you back on the show. It is always a blast and an honor to have you here. So welcome back, Cindy.
Thank you. I love being here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So much.
Awesome. Cindy, for those of us out there that have not seen you yet on the Energetic Life Now show, give us a little intro about you. What makes you so amazing?
Thank you. So, as you know, and some of our audience knows today that I am a joy catalyst, a victorious life coach and strategist, and a dual elite neuroencoding specialist. I am an expert in fear mitigation, fear obliteration, and fear replacement. The only way you become an expert in those types of things is you walk through some stuff, right?
Mm.
And I've been really blessed to have found the tools and the tips and the tricks and the things to be able to leverage myself to always come from a default of joy and gratitude. So yay. And I'm so grateful to be here. It's such a blessing. And I am a mama and a grandma, and I love that too.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Thank you, Cindy. Cindy, welcome back. Welcome back. So today, friends and family, I thought we'd have Cindy here because you just heard her say she is a joy catalyst, and what does that mean, right?
Oh.
And so today we're going to be really looking at the times in our lives of which we find it difficult to experience joy. We find it difficult to stay within that lane of finding gratitude and joy for ourselves. And let's take specifically the fabulous fun word that raises anxiety. Are you ready for this? Chaos. Oh my gosh, let that unpack and unfold somewhere in our lives. Chaos. So Cindy, let's jump into this. Like, let's talk about really finding joy in the chaos. So, as a fear, I'm gonna make sure I say this right. Fear mitigation. Did I say that right? Yes, fear mitigation. So, as you are having touch points with people that are coming to you, like Cindy, listen, I got so much chaos going on in my life. You do not believe what's going on. I have this and I have that, and we're going over here, we're going over there, just like up here in our brains, right? And then the verbal vomits, right? We're like, what is going on? I can't even handle life. Walk us through that. Like, what is going on in this chaos of modern life, of which we're struggling to find joy?
A lot of times it's the chaos is something that people use to not feel and to not connect with themselves and what they really, really want. Because a lot of times people, there's an addiction to chaos, right? That people, and you're so used to it and you don't even know, like, check it out. And most people don't know how awful they felt till they feel good. So when you remove yourself or remove chaos from your life and what it actually does or did to your nervous system, it's almost scary even when your nerves are all zened out and calmed out, right? But oftentimes that chaos is literally Like what I would do if you came to me and said that, I said, well, let's become treasure hunters. Let's look for the treasures in that chaos. Let's start digging through the pile. Look for the treasures. What are you gaining from that? And then go from there and ask very simply, the biggest North Star is, what do you want? What do you really want? And how are you going to get there? Where are you at now? What do you got to do to get there?
Wow. You know what? This is why, Cindy, you keep coming back on the show, because you are the dropper of gold nuggets. Holy smokes, people, friends, and family around the world. Did you hear that? Here's the one thing I just tapped into that was so key for me, and I really felt that. That was being addicted to the chaos. Listen, we're here in the United States, right? What's chaos look like for you in the UK? What's chaos look like for you in other parts of the world? South America, Africa, Australia. We see the numbers coming in. You guys are all over the world. What does that chaos look like for you? Where is that showing up and why for you?
Right.
Are we understanding why that chaos is showing up? Where it's coming from? Where that emotional attachment and reactions to that chaos is happening? Unpack that a little bit, Cindy, if you would.
Well, you think about it, if we even just look at the very simple things, not all the government things and all the pandemic-y things and all the other extra layers that are added to our lives, how about we just start from when you wake up?
Yeah.
And, what do people do? Almost always grab the gadget, first thing, right? And it's always, often even on their pillow, like right near them before they get their glasses on. Well, what does that do? I mean, we have over 34 gigabytes of information that is flown at us every single day, which is the equivalent to reading from front to back 177 newspapers. Who the freak can do that? And you don't even know, because your brain registers it, your brain locks and loads it. It's coming at you whether you are conscious of it or not. And then it manifests in your life, in your body, in the way that you treat other people. I mean, you know what happens. We've talked about the whole chaos thing. And so when you're in the midst of that chaos, what does that create? Anxiety. And when you're freaked out, right? Then how do you lose your manners, you lose your peace, your joy, everything goes out the window, because then you're treading water and surviving and just grasping, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. And listen, I'm freaking out right now just by those numbers that you said. How many bytes are coming at us, or megabytes?
34 gigabytes.
34 gigabytes coming at us every day. Well, okay, you just sent me into anxiety overload, because I'm like, no wonder I'm stressed out. No wonder I'm feeling like I can't get everything done.
Right.
I mean, how interesting. Here we are in 2023, and we look back at that time that people go, oh, life was so much easier back then. Life was so much greater back then. We didn't have all this stress and all the things we have today. Why? Because they didn't have this much information overload coming at them all at once, right? We got up, we went to jobs. Now, I'm saying I mean like my parents who are in their 80s, right? They got up, they went to work, they did their job. It was very, very cut and dry. They came home, they ate, they did some chores around the house, blah, 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 right? You had your weekends off and yada, yada, right? So much easier to navigate through less of that information coming at us. Now we have this overload, right? And so for everybody else, just to remind you, for me being a teen, young adult, and parent coach, this is something that we deal with in families, right? Because you're so right. As soon as those alarms go off, we're grabbing our phones, we're going through, stuff as quickly as we can. I've got to scroll. I've got the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Something's happened in the last few hours while I've been sleeping. I have to get all caught up before I go to school. Otherwise, I'm not going to know what's happening as I'm walking into middle school or high school, right? Same thing as the adults. It's the same thing within the families, right? And then as you're saying, hey, we're addicted to the overload. We're addicted to the chaos. We're addicted to the technology. We're addicted to having this information coming at us at 1,000 miles an hour.
Right.
How does that look like for you and your clients and the adults that you're working with?
Well, and even addicted to the emotions that are created by the chaos. Like when
Wow.
you look for the root of it, right? What does it make you feel like? And you're addicted to those feelings. So, oh my gosh, I need to, even stupid things like what is Kim Kardashian wearing and what is Kanye West diagnosed with and who cares, right? But you look at your youth and your teens, even what's the latest fashion thing? Oh my God, something different today. All of that stuff, because what's happened with the internet is that we've given other people a say, whether we know that we have or not. Other people can weigh in on our lives, whether we've even met them.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, with my clients, some of the things that I do is I even tell them, let's fast your digitals, get rid of your screens a little bit, get outside, go barefoot, walk in that grass, get connected, get grounded, touch your children. Don't text your kid, hey, did you take out the trash when they're just downstairs? Go downstairs, give them a hug and say, hey, did you get your chores done? Or, hey, come on, let's go upstairs and get those dishes done. Because what was created, and I don't know if you know, you probably do, but I think it was like 1964, 69, something like that, ARPANET created the internet. And it was 4 computers that were basically to say, hey, boom, blow the world up. I mean, they were to talk with each other. And then fast forward to like Netscape and Microsoft and all that, AOL, right? You've got
right.
And everything became like an enterprise. And then it just took off from there. Well, what was meant to connect us has literally put wedges, even not just between us and others, but between us and ourselves, where we're looking at this saying, oh, well, she's the goddess of all knowledge as of how I should live my life instead of what do I want? Right? And then all of the shame, or even when you dishonor yourself. So I always go right back to with my clients, what do you want? It's such a simple question. And when was the last time any of our audience asked yourself, looked in the mirror and said, well, what do you want? And let's figure out who you are, really, why you're here, really, what's your purpose, and what you're going to do about it. Like, what are you going to do about it? Now that you know, right? And
sure.
Stay in alignment with your assignment and walk out what God's purposed you to do, or be miserable and chaotic and addicted to emotions and craziness and woohoo, let's go.
Oh yeah, no, thank you so much, Cindy. That was absolute gold. I love it. As you were talking about those things, I'm reflecting on me, because I know for me and friends and family around the world, see if this connects with you too. When I am out of harmony with self, I find the first thing I do is go to the norms, which is grab that cell phone and go. And I've really, really been working over this last year to that alarm goes off, or actually I've been stopping setting the alarm and trying to just naturally wake up without having that alarm. And this is for me, this is not for everybody, right? A lot of people use alarms. I'm not saying don't use alarms, but I've been trying to naturally wake up in that space of just natural rhythms of my body rhythms, right? And instantly the thought goes through my head, today is going to be a great day.
Yes.
And I say that to myself, and I will repeat that 2 or 3, 4 or 5 times. Today is going to be a great day. Today is going to be a great day. And if you're old like me, you probably even start hearing Ice Cube say, and today was a good day, right? Right. And so that starts going through my mind. I'm a huge music lover, right? And so that starts going through my mind. And then I get up and start noticing, here's some sunlight, here's this, here's that. And I've incorporated this into what I call my rise routine in the morning. Okay. So here's my intentions. I'm stating my intentions in my rise routine. Today's going to be a great day, a good day, a great day, a magnificent day, a fantastic day. However, I'm going to say it, I'm just setting it out there like, man, today is going to be phenomenal. And then I'm getting up in that energy. I'm getting up in that intention. I'm grabbing that glass of water, chugging that down. I'm getting that electricity flowing in my body.
100%.
Now, do I go into my phone? Yes, but not right away. That's going to be later. I'm going to start going into some things that I need to do in the immediate upon waking up. And that intention then leads into gratitude.
Yes.
And so now I start talking about gratitude. What am I thankful for that day? So I'm pausing going into technology until I get into that space and place of gratitude. Right?
Yes.
Because now I want to connect the head and heart space, right? Because I'm saying today's going to be a great day, a magnificent day. I'm connecting that. Now I'm getting into that gratitude and I'm filling myself up with that gratitude and that joy, right? And does that mean I'm still not going to have 50,000 things going to go on that morning? No, there's still going to be a million things. There's still going to be stuff going on. But I am starting from that place of intention, gratitude, and joy.
Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. We have very similar. I love that, the rise routine. We have very similar routines. I start my day with gratitude, and I start my day, thank you for this fantastic, spectacular day you've given me, God. And I start from that space. They're very similar to yours. And then I do that. And then, it's interesting because you and I were kind of chuckling about this the other day. I'm thankful for everything. I'm thankful that I have, Melaleuca, essential oil toothpaste, because I'm so grateful, right? That I do. Or I'm thankful that I have a toothbrush. I'm thankful. And I don't mean that silly or even superfluous or anything. It's a frequency, right?
Yes.
It's a frequency, like you mentioned, of gratitude and joy, and they go together. And so when I put my feet on the ground in the morning, before I even get out, I do like you. And I'm so grateful that we learned that with the water. I chug my water. It sits right in my nightstand, chug it before I get out. And then right after that, I chug medical grade ketones, as you do, chug those suckers right after that. And then I'm ready to go. And I go down a list of those things. And there have been days, in all sincerity, that I've had to not grabbing my phone because I left something hanging at night that I wanted an answer to. And I've really have to condition myself and really be a good steward over that time of my morning so that I set a solid foundation for my day. And I don't give other things, people, answers the power over my well-being, over me showing up my very best. You said two things, though, that were just phenomenal. You said lots of things that were phenomenal. Two things I wrote down. You said alarm. When I hear that word, it's like, who the heck wants that to go off in the morning, right? There's got to be a way, like you. I would love to condition myself to be able to rise at a certain time. I've almost got it to where I can rise at 5 a.m. every morning. And, and I don't pack anything that early, obviously, other than my time, and the other thing you say is harmony. Now, harmony is such a big deal to me that even one of my granddaughter's middle names in Hawaiian is Kalakahi'oakua, which is with the peace and harmony of God. And harmony is a huge, because people always talk about balance, which to me, whatever, right? I mean, you can't really create that. But harmony is a whole different ballgame. And I'm on board with you 100% with that, creating harmony in the areas of your life. And it's like a symphony playing, when there's an instrument off key, it, right?
Yes.
So tell me, how do you do that in your life? How do you have, and how do you bring the elements of gratitude and joy and stress and chaos and everything that goes on? You're a husband and a father and a business owner, and you work and you have a other business that you're a part of. So how do you do all of that?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I do my rise routine in the morning, and as I'm getting to an hour or so into my day, that's pretty much when chaos begins. something is going to show up with kids in the house, right?
100%.
Like my middle son, he is notorious for putting things off, procrastinating, if you will, and then all of a sudden, Dad, can you do this? Dad, can you do that? Dad, can you do this? And I'm like, here it comes. Here it comes. Here, Captain Delegation right here, and it's falling on my shoulders. And I will always say to him, and it drives him nuts, but now he laughs about it. There's John Wooden has a great quote. The worst things I could do for the ones I love are the things they could do, should do for themselves.
Ooh.
And he goes, Dad, whatever, just do it. I'm going to be late. Right. And so then we start laughing about it, but in that way of that chaos of now I've got to do this. This is a priority. I have to do this with him and help him through this. I don't have to. I choose to. Let me say it that way. I don't have to. I choose to. I could just say, you know what? Screw you, dude. You should have done this, bro. You like suck it up, Buttercup. You're gonna make it in life, or you're not. And if I keep, handing you stuff, but in that way that I understand how his brain works and operates, and so we get into that space. So now we leave the house and I'm out on the Southern California freeways. Very, very, very peaceful place to drive. So friends and family around the world, if you've never had the pleasure of driving in Southern California, think of it as, a speedway, if you will. And people are driving like, we're getting ready to, I don't know what, Armageddon's about to happen and people got to get home. It's crazy, right? Yeah. And I'm really been trying to reframe my thinking and feeling on this, and being gracious, giving grace to those that I don't know why they're driving like they're seriously in a race, because they're in that daily race of life, and they're zooming by, cutting off and doing this, and I'm trying to get into that space of just saying, you know what? Whatever's going on in your life today, that you're driving in this chaos that I see, and speeding at these high speeds and cutting people off and doing this, I hope that everything's okay. I hope that you have a great day, and I hope you get to where you're going safely. And I'm really, really trying to do that, because what do you think that's doing to the chaos and the anxiety and things in me? It just starts melting away. It starts going down, and I'm like, oh, I'm in such a better place than on my return home to walk in and begin my day and start getting into my work routine.
100%. That's so rich. Even with what you're saying, you can even take it even a little bit further of being so grateful that you are who you are, because you are giving that person grace, where we've all seen reports of people dying because they didn't give that other person grace. Like, who knows? Who knew? And today it was interesting. I was talking with somebody actually right before climbing on with you today, and they were talking about a traumatic situation with a neighbor and the stuff. And they had read something that I posted about gratitude and coming from that space. And I talked exactly to your point about not only just giving them grace, but every time they come up, instead of having that imaginary conversation with them that you want to just have it out, so to speak, and the brain candy around it. Instead, what would happen if you just prayed for that person and sent them love and sent them peace? Because clearly when people do things like that, something tripped their wires. And and it could be just fear. It could be something going on. We all know the story that Stephen Covey shared, which you've shared, in what you do. And there's been myriad of instances where we just don't know what's going on in their life, like you said. And so what would happen? So what happens to your brain when you do that? Seriously, instead of all the freak out hormones dumping in your brain, then all the feel good ones do. And then you're still peaceful in your own happy little sunshine bubble, driving down the freeway, right? And
Yeah.
they got to where they got to go. I mean, who cares if they're one car in front of you? Did that really make or break your day? Like,
Right. Yeah.
That's so great.
And two is I've got to self-check, because if I got my kids in the car, I got to self-check, because if I'm modeling these behaviors of when chaos shows up, this is how you operate.
Yes.
What is that teaching my kids?
Yes.
What is that?
Yeah.
And they're like, Dad, you're a little crazy, bro. And I'm like, yeah, no, I can't do that. They're like, you need like something, there's something wrong with you. You got to screw loose. Right. And so they're calling me out on my shenanigans, which is great. And I love that. They're my accountability partners.
Yeah.
And I love that they can hold me accountable. So I want to go circle back, if we can, to gratitude. All right. It's a great word, and we love the word. And one thing that I would love to encourage our listeners around the world, and thank you guys again for tuning in. We love you, and glad you're with us today. Is taking the gratitude, and we naturally look at the big things, right? Thank you for the sunshine. Thank you for our food. Thank you for our water. Thank you for and listen. I know for us here in the United States, like that could seem like it's a no big deal thing. But if I'm in a different area of which I have food scarcity, that might be my big gratitude thing today. So I'm not going to make light of that to anyone anywhere around the world that might be in that place, because listen, I totally get it. I've been down there, down that road of which food was scarce and food was a huge deal. But here's where I'd like us to go down this path for a few minutes, if we will, is to get into that space of gratitude. And sometimes I need to close my eyes to really go internal with this. Mm-hmm. And one of the fun things that I do, this is so cool. I hope you guys try this, because it's really cool, is I try to listen in my near sounds, my mid-range sounds, and far sounds, and begin to tap into what am I connecting to? What am I hearing? Right? What am I hearing that's right here next to me? So right here, as I'm right here standing by my desk, right over here there's a fan. It's hot today here at the beach. We've got a heat wave coming in.
Bummer.
If I close my eyes and really, really listen, I can hear this fan.
Right.
Mid-range sounds are just out the back patio here. We got these beautiful ponds here, and we got birds chirping and squawking and ducks in the water and things like that. And then the far sounds is maybe I hear an airplane or a helicopter, or we're here in Southern California, right at the north end of Camp Pendleton Marine Base. And those soldiers are flying up and down our coast and doing things like that. Where can that take me in that space of gratitude? And I really want to hone that in on minute things that I can tap into, that I'm grateful for, that I might not have thought of before, and create that gratitude experience in a way that I've not connected to before. Mm-hmm. How does that show up for you, Cindy, when you kind of get into those intentional gratitude for the smallest or the nearest to the farthest, maybe they're big things? How does that show up with you?
For me, most recently, even walking outside and getting my mail and feeling it's getting a little chilly. I wish we were having a heat wave at the beach. I'd be like, yes, and the sun was shining, and there was this yummy breeze, and I felt it all over me. And instantly I was so grateful to be standing right where I was standing and feeling that breeze. Now, some of those, and I don't mean these things like you and I will talk about, not airy fairy unicorn and crystal. I don't mean that. Legitimate, I will stand outside and I will listen to my trees on purpose. I hear the air, the rustle in it. I hear the little birds. birds and I hear all those things and I take a breath. It's like when I fly back home to Hawaii, first of all, I'm about 2.5 hours out and every cell in my body jumps for joy. And it's just like, we know. And then I get off the plane and I take the deepest breath because there's a floral aromatic that is just breathtaking. It's those kinds of things. It's that the things that we take for granted because they're part of our everyday. That when we just stop, like, the whole adage, stop and smell the roses. Well, legitimately, right?
Yeah.
Stop and feel that air, feel what's under your feet. Even take a deep breath. Well, not with all of your cars, but with some of your cars that don't have Taco Bell trash in them or whatever, when you get in the car, even that, all of those little things that seem so insignificant and they're huge. They're big things. Or when you put on your favorite jacket, the fact that A, it still fits, and B, you've got it. Where to your point a few minutes ago, we do take for granted that that I can go to the tap and turn on the water, that I can go push a button and then the light comes on, where there are mamas and daddies that walk 2.5, 3 miles to scoop dirty water out of a riverbed for their family or something, right?
Sure.
I mean, all of those things matter.
Right. Yeah, no, seriously. And that's what I love about our global community. So wherever you are, friends and family, wherever you are, we want to really encourage you guys to begin really connecting to those little things of gratitude that are around you. What do you hear? What do you see? What do you smell? What can you taste?
Yeah.
Use your 5 senses to really soak in and bring in that gratitude and that joy for the little things, the big things, the mid things in your life, and begin to really have that be part of that daily routine, in that rise routine. Because as we set those intentions for the day, we know chaos is going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's going to happen. So buckle up, sister, and enjoy the ride. Because I can enjoy the ride because I've come into this day with this gratitude and in this joy within the chaos. And when I set that intention, it brings so much more calm in my core and in my center. And then my brain goes, oh yeah, I want to feel that. Oh yeah, here comes something. Let's go back to that feeling because that feeling is good and we like that. That's calm. That's peace. That's comfort. That's safety. That's where our harmony is. Oh yeah. And so this is going back and forth and back and forth. And we're going, we want more of that. Let's connect back to that.
Right. Well, and so much to your point, I love that calm in my core. Like, and what we were talking about a few minutes ago about when you're freaking out and there's no calm, it's like everything escapes you, everything to do a lot of times. And I use that word on purpose because your manners are out the window. You're unkind to your mate, to your children, to your pet, to the people you work with. Even if you don't say a word, the energy you're putting out, is like, stay away from me, that kind of thing, as opposed to, like you said, that calm, that peace, that, we use words like gratitude and joy, they do create peace. You're able to flow with freedom. And you flow like a river around the rocks of chaos and the things that come your way. It's like incoming, and if that's your default, that you've created a default of gratitude and joy, then it makes it so much easier to flow and to navigate through those things, like what you did with your son. As opposed to being all judgy and all those things. Okay, I know how his brain functions and operates. And you just want to say, shut it down, just do it because I said to, just shut up already. There's those things. And instead, you flipped into, because I've heard you talk a lot about your kids. And so I have a lot of admiration for the way that you parent. And you flipped into, how can I make this be that moment with us. And even being aware of that moment to where it's laughter. And I mean, it's funny because I just did a post, or I just created a post that's going up today about laughter and how it actually, you know, biblically, it says that it's a great medicine. Well, it really is. And when you can create, because it does, it beyond the dopamine it dumps in there, it alleviates stress. There's so many things, you know. Follow me on Facebook or on social media, Cindy Gould, and you'll see it. But I have a list of things that it does, but that laughter, and you create laughter in those moments with what you're doing, and you're encoding between the two of you joy, gratitude, love, peace, and safety. And a lot of people don't think of that. They think of, because we probably came from the era of, I know that if my parents looked at me, I didn't want to ever disappoint them. You know, so even a look, you know, was okay. You know, I can't even imagine not doing my chores or saying, not doing it. You know, or, yeah, right? Yeah, that look, right?
No.
You're already into next week, you know, right? You know, and nowadays kids are in a different place. Well, a lot of times, because now there's that whole safety thing, emotional safety, not physical safety, emotional safety. You created that within that. And the calm, you created calm in the core of your relationship with your son by creating laughter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because like today, he started his morning shift a half an hour earlier. And I knew going in that was going to be a disruptor in his routine because I know how his brain works, right? And he's going to have a few days of trying to figure out his normal routine instead of just moving everything a half an hour sooner. He doesn't yet tie into, I need to do this and this and this sequentially in that time frame to then walk out the door 30 minutes sooner. So I texted him this morning because I knew he was up in the bathroom, and he loves to have sausages in the morning, and he'll eat it in the car and things like that. And so I started and I got those ready, and because I knew I could hear him rushing around and not in his routine. And so I just said, hey, your sausages are ready when you come down, and bing, bang, boom, you're all set. Right. And so he was just like, oh my God, thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Right. And again, that's the choice that I make to help him stay in his joy. I get to do that thing which brings me joy, which is him having gratitude and joy. And so that's where that harmony in our family is happening.
Right.
And I look at those opportunities of, I could say, well, no, I got to get up a half an hour early, and this is there because I got to drive him to work. I'm using it as an opportunity to teach him, because he's going to do that same with his kids someday.
Right. Well, it's to your point, what you said about being in the car.
Yeah.
You know, because we're to leave an inheritance for our children's children. Well, the biggest inheritance is that emotional safety, the joy, the peace, the calm, right? The calm to the core, which I love. You know, I know I've shared with you before the story, and if I may, I'm going to share when I was driving on the highway. And so I'm driving on the highway near Seattle, and it's rainy, of course, because, you know, why wouldn't it be? Right. And two cars in front of me, and this was years ago, a semi jackknives. Both those cars slam into the semi. All the cars to the right, to the left, behind me, everybody's smashing, right? So I have a little 300ZX, which I loved, my little car, and I'm bebopping. I was happy. It was a great day. Rush hour traffic was going pretty well, you know. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, holy smokes! Put on my brake, and instead of hitting the cars, my car did a complete 360s. Okay. Now, not that I had somebody sitting in the car saying this, but a download in my spirit that I heard almost like an audible voice: Cindy, stay calm amidst the chaos. You know, and it's interesting that we're having this conversation, and you said calm in my core, because that phrase has served me. You know, and I walked away. There was not one scratch on my car. It was so unbelievable. Wow. Everybody was like, whoa, how did she skate through that? I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Lord, thank you. And, you know, I was able to jump out and help and do whatever. But what was amazing to me is that single phrase has been a great navigator for me, right? And a great light post for me to just stay calm amidst the chaos.
Yeah.
So how do you do that with the very tools and things? And you're creating that, Eric, with your child. Hey, I got the sausages ready. All these things are done. You're ready to go. Just finish what you're doing and let's get out of here. I mean, and how instantly, okay, because what I'm really hearing is dad's got me.
Yeah.
Right. And isn't that, I mean, I've got goosebumps even saying that, Eric. It's just like, dad's got me. Yeah. And honestly, that's how I walk through my life, is that God's got me. Dad's got me.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And you're mirroring that in your family. And that's how you create that harmony, you said, in your family. Mm-hmm. You come from such a lens of gratitude, and you're very intentional, and a lot of times, what do? We're on autopilot. We wake up, we do the same things. We're on auto. We don't realize that if we would just take a couple of those little tweaks to be intentional, who it all affects, right?
Oh, yeah. I love that so much, Cindy. That is powerful. And friends and family around the world really want to challenge you guys. Not only is to establish that joy and that gratitude early in the morning as best that you can and work at it. It takes time to get into that, right? It doesn't happen overnight. This is where we, as Cindy and I, as Neuroencoding Institute coaches and specialists, this is what we know. Not only have we done it for ourselves, but this is how we coach others to do that too, is to get into that pattern of repetition, because you're going to hit mastery. Mm-hmm. And when you get to that mastery and the unconscious, the conscious becomes unconscious, that's when you've rewired your brain's operating system to do it automatically without purposely having to stop and do. And I love that place, as I know you do too, Cindy, where I just, bam, I'm up in the morning and my brain just goes, gratitude, joy. And you're like, wait, what? Where's it coming from? Who's saying that? Where's that? Right? Is this being filmed? Is this on TikTok? What's going on? Right? And it's just our brains going, connection here, head and heart space. Let's get into it. Let's do it. Right? And I love that for myself. And I love that for you, Cindy, because I know that you do it too. Right? Yeah. And so, friends, listen, what can you do starting tomorrow or today, tomorrow? Where are we around the world? Is there anybody in yesterday, or are we all in today and tomorrow?
Oh boy, that's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother thing. Where are we? Are we yesterday, today, or tomorrow? I don't know where we are, where you are around the world, but can you, the next time that you open your beautiful eyes, get into joy and get into gratitude and say, wow, what am I grateful for today? Right. Where is this going to show up for me? How can I get into that space and place? And then begin to do that every single day until it becomes automatic.
Yep. I have an idea too. What if everybody tried this out? So what if you go to bed spending a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, reflecting on your day and all the grateful things?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You mean at the end of the day, we should reflect upon the things that we thought about in the morning and say, did these really happen to us? And how did we get calm and decor and for all this chaos? And then we go, oh yeah, man, today rocked. Today was a good day.
That's right.
And here's where I was, and here's the things that I'm grateful for.
Yes.
I said it this morning, I'm grateful for this. Am I still grateful for that? What else can I add to that list? What else showed up today that I went, man, that was a great learning experience. Mm-hmm. Yep. Even if I didn't do well, even if I'm looking at it and goes, that was a mistake. I don't make mistakes. I'm like Mary Poppins. I'm practically perfect in every way because I switched to look at I've switched to look at those opportunities and moments as learning experiences. Yes,
Yeah.
I messed up. Technically, yeah, I messed up. But can I look at that and go, this, I'm so grateful for that learning experience. I'm so
Yes.
grateful I learned that today.
Where's the treasure? Where's
Where's the
the treasure? Be that treasure hunter.
mm,
Because I know there's some days where you maybe, not you, Eric, because I don't believe this is you, but other people where you may be just like Mary Poppins, only a little short on that sugar. Right?
I might need a few extra spoonfuls of sugar to make that medicine go down that day.
That's right.
For sure. Right?
Yes.
Oh my word. Oh my word. That's a great metaphor, actually, right there. I love that one. I'm going to use that. That's great.
By all
Oh
means.
my gosh. Yeah. So you know what, Cindy, we had talked about prior about staying calm in the chaos and all that. We were even talking about looking at the holidays.
Oh gosh.
I'm thinking we should just come back and do another episode because
Let's do
that's a
it.
whole nother discussion
Yes.
about the holidays and what is going to be happening in your neck of the woods around the country in the holidays. And
Yeah.
because we all got that crazy uncle and that person, and you're like, oh Lord, now we got to go meet these people and do this thing, and the anxiety already. Oh my word.
Oh my
So
word. Yes. Yes.
yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to come back and do Calm in the Chaos Holiday Edition. That's
Yeah.
that's
Hey,
that's,
that's it.
that's
That's
it.
it. I love it. And well, and when you think about the holidays too, it's like if right now in your life you already have more month than money and you
Mhm.
just got your kids back into school, if you have school age children, you know, the, I mean, you told us how many more sleeps till the holidays, and I want to be like, why would you tell me that?
Oh yeah, no, listen, I love Christmas time.
Me too.
I'm such a huge fan of it. I got the countdown timer on. It shows up in my social media feed down to it's 1,100 and something hours until Christmas. So my countdown timer is on because I love it so much.
I love that. Well, and I even have practical ideas. So we should do this episode sooner rather than later, because even practical ideas of way to save money. I mean, I grew
Yeah.
up in a really, there were 7 of us kids. I had very resourceful
Oh,
parents. I had an
yep. Me
outstanding
too.
mom that knew how to figure stuff out. And there have been seasons in my life where I've had like literally not had it to pull it off and was blessed and was able to do that. And so it would be super fun to be able to give some. And I want to invite all of you friends, family, and loved ones in our audience today to send us in your ideas and send us, reach out to us and send us your questions
Yeah.
too of a bit that we can address, because it'll be super fun. And you know what? I love that we're doing that, and that we have how many 1,000+ hours still. Thank goodness.
I know, and it seems like, oh, it's 1,000 hours. That's so much. Oh no, it'll be here like no time, because
Yeah,
I'm already looking at what my schedule looks like between now and November, and it's like, holy smokes, like there's a lot, right? And how easily it could turn into chaos, right?
totally.
That's the key. How easily that can turn into chaos. So that's definitely what we're going to come back and do.
Yes.
For
And again,
that.
to be intentional.
Yeah.
Be intentional before you go to bed. Be intentional when you wake up. Be intentional. You be in charge of your time. You want to have this spectacular life, you create it.
Mhm.
Create it with here, here, and here.
Mhm.
Right? I mean, and create that life. Don't give other people that power or privilege, from the device even.
Mhm.
Like how many times, I don't know about you, but even in my morning routine, something will come up in the middle of it. And I either have to chase that thought away, or I find myself saying, oh, it's okay. I can just look that up really quick and I'll jump right back into my scripture study, or I'll jump back into my meditation. I'm like, are you kidding me right
Yeah.
now? You
Yeah.
know, because those distractions are kind of like, if you watch the Matrix, they're kind of like the glitch in the Matrix, right? And it's the same kind. What about for you?
Yeah, I think I have check-ins within myself, uh,
Mm,
pretty regularly. I want to say almost hourly,
yeah.
right? Because if I am focused on my priorities that day, then I'm staying within that intention of today's going to be a good day because I'm working on things that are going to,
Yes.
help drive my business, drive results, the things that I want, right?
Yes.
And if I find that I've been sitting there goofing off on a game or something on my phone, I'm not really taking care of business. So then that's when that anxiety rises. That's where that chaos now comes in. And
Yeah.
because now my brain is starting to go all you're not doing this, you're not doing this, and starts playing all this, song in my head, if you will. And then that's when I start getting out of harmony with what my intentions were for the day.
Totally.
And so that's where I want to get back into getting that harmony and making sure that I am tackling those things that I want to. So we've talked about having that rise routine. We've talked about having that end of the day unwind in that rest. We're talking about that middle section
Yes.
of staying true and on task to what it is that you were setting that intention for. So on your rest routine at the end of the day, you're saying, did I get that block of my life of this day in and where it needs to be? And hopefully that question is yes. If it's not, what did I learn from that experience? What can I bring over to the next day and keep myself going?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. 100%. And I love that whole recap. One of the things that really helps me in the middle of my day is to keep my why front and center and to prioritize my purpose. When even my purpose for that day, my purpose for this event we're having right now, my purpose for that meeting, my purpose for that phone call, and prioritize my purpose. It keeps that intentionality there so that if anything pops in to distract me, I have my priorities in alignment. And so that way I can just, hey, that's okay. It can wait. Because I think especially people in our age groups, we're quicker to respond. Like, oh my gosh, they texted me. Our politeness as adults from our childhoods, is we got to respond right now. Right. And I mean, it's so funny because with our kids, with our children, and they don't respond right away. Are you kidding me? Like, I will call instead, like, hey, did you not get my text? I mean, it's like, oh, sorry, mom, or whatever.
Honestly. Right? Now, listen, if you've got family members, let's see, maybe somebody named like Caden Collins. That name's coming to my head. Now, if Caden Collins doesn't answer your text after being on this show and knowing that when you send that text, you better get right on that there, Caden Collins.
That's right, broski.
We know where you're at.
We do. That's right, brother.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So great.
Awesome. So for friends and family out there, just want to remind you of great ways to get a hold of Cindy is where, my dear?
Well, you can find me on Facebook and Cindy Gould. You can find me at createyourvictoriouslife.com. You can find me at Victorious Living with Cindy on Instagram. Please, by all means, just reach out to me. You got any questions you want to add to our next fun episode that we're going to have? By all means. So thank you so much. And thank you, Eric. I love being on here with you. You know that. You're so
Yes, I love having you here. And as always, you guys in the Energetic Life Now, friends and family, you guys can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm also on LinkedIn. We'd love to hear from you. Send me a message, a shout out, any ideas for upcoming shows that you want to hear us talk about. Absolutely would love to hear that feedback from you. Yes. This show can be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network. Please check it out at spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. Love you guys. We'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.